welcome to another edition of From the Source. I'm your host, Elizabeth Johnson. Today I have the opportunity to speak with Justin Brown, the Democratic candidate for Nassau County Clerk. Justin, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, and thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here, and excited to get started and uh, let the residents know what I'm running for, and answer some of your great questions.
Thank you so much. Well, our audience is mostly the North Shore, Great Neck, and part of New Hyde Park, Manhasset, and it goes over to Mineola a little bit. So, as the Democratic candidate, we'd like to know a little bit about who you are, where you grew up, where you went to school, stuff like that. You want to start?
Sure. So originally, I am from Brooklyn, New York.
Yay! Me too.
Yes. So I moved out here right around 12 or 13 years old, and I moved into Uniondale, New York, where I attended middle school, Turtle Hook Middle School, and then Uniondale High School. It's a great community, very family oriented, and made me the person I am today. And I'm super proud to be from Uniondale Knight, and pretty much, I think that having that representation and just being able to represent where you're from is super important, and it just gives you a sense of pride to know where you come from. Other than that, I went to after I was a big sports guy. I played baseball, football, basketball. My primary sport was basketball. 6'4", so they pushed me into basketball. um, so I got a scholarship. I went to a Division II school to play basketball, St. Thomas Aquinas College, upstate, and then played there for 4 years. Got my bachelor's degree in criminal justice, and then came back down and worked in the Department of Corrections for a couple of years at Rikers Island.
Oh, wow.
Yes,
Yeah.
so I worked at there for a couple of years, and it was okay. But one thing that I wanted to do, and I always promised my mother, was I was going to finish my master's degree, and I was not able to finish obtaining my master's degree because of the hours and working 16, 17 hours a day. So I left and went to the Winthrop Hospital in Mineola, where I worked for something called the Institutional Review Board. It's a human research protection program where we ensure that we're protecting patients whenever they're joining any type of investigative study. When you're going into a hospital, we ensure that any study that is presented to a patient, that they're in compliance with federal, state, and local regulations, and that they're not being taken advantage of, and that it's safe and in the best interest of the patients. So I did that at Winthrop Hospital for about 5 years, and then I was given the opportunity and a job offer to work at Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center.
Wow.
Where I currently am working as the administrator or associate director. So that is my life in a brief synopsis. Also, I obtained my master's degree. I know I forgot to finish that, but I obtained my master's degree at Hofstra University in healthcare administration. So
you really do know what you're doing in healthcare.
yes.
But going back to your time in Uniondale has recognized you as a high achiever. And I think they have a Hall of Fame, which you were the first inductee. Is that correct?
Yes. So the superintendent of the school, gave me the opportunity, and I'm so thankful for her. At the time, she was the acting superintendent, Miss Rhonda Taylor, and she reached out to me and asked if I would be the first inductee to their Hall of Fame. So, of course, I said yes, because again, Uniondale, amazing, and it's made me the person I am today. And I was so thankful to even be considered for that that role. And now that I see the individuals that's up there, we have judges, we have other politicians, doctors, and just to be amongst those individuals is such an honor. And for me to be the first individual was, surprising. And I'm very grateful and thankful for that.
It has an amazing sports team, I know, as
Yeah.
well, and it's quite an honor to be inducted into the Hall of Fame because now you're history.
Yes, I mean, my friends, they send pictures because they put a picture up of everyone that's inducted on one of the schools, the administrative school by Cornelius Court, and mine's is the first one up there. So they're always sending pictures of them going over there and taking pictures next to the picture and all that kind of stuff. And it's funny because they give me grief about it. They try to call me the mayor of the town and all that kind of stuff. But again, I'm so grateful and honored to even be considered for that.
That's wonderful. It is. So being called the mayor, what actually made you decide to, go into politics? And is this your first foray into politics?
Yeah, so I mean, on this level, this would be my first introduction to being into politics. On a smaller scale, I was on the school board for Uniondale
Okay.
for the past 3 years. So, community engagement and advocating on behalf of residents in our community has always been a big thing for me. So I was on the school board for 3 years. I also am currently on the board for for Hofstra University Healthcare Administration Alumni and Executives Program. I'm the treasurer for that, and then in addition to that, I also serve as the president for the Nassau County Board of Visitors, which is also kind of known as like the Board of Corrections, where we ensure that inmates who file grievances and whenever they file grievances, that it's thoroughly investigated, and that we work alongside the sheriff's department and ensure that they investigate it properly, and that a response is provided to those inmates so that they know that they're being heard, and their complaints are not being just ignored. So that is what I have been serving as. I served all four, so it's a huge, for me, it's huge to serve for our community residents, and I've always been an advocate to advocate on behalf of our residents and make sure that we as a community are represented well, and that you have someone that's there fighting for us, and knowing that someone is there to have their back.
Now, may I ask how old you are?
Yes, I'm 30 years old.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you've really made an impact on your community. It's obvious, not only have you improved society, but you've given back. Now, why the county clerk?
So I believe that the county clerk's office, based off of my previous experience, it deals with everything that I've dealt with in the past. Community engagement. Again, I've served on the school board, so community engagement is something that I do on the regular. Speaking with various stakeholders, speaking with the residents, whether it be good or bad. I think that's a big part of working in the county clerk's office. Contracts, working with unions, all of that stuff is entailed within working as a school board trustee. So that experience really gave me a huge advantage, and that experience to even be considered to run for the clerk's office, because I have that knowledge, and it's something that I'm not afraid to go into and have those hard talks and negotiations and those kind of things. And then also with my job, one of the big things, because for the county clerk's office, a lot of the stuff that they deal with is documentation. So in the healthcare field, especially within my department, the Institutional Review Board, we deal with a lot of documentation. We are dealing with making sure that documentation is easily accessible to the various stakeholders, to the patients. We deal with making sure that not only is it accessible, that when it's needed, that we can turn around and we can make sure that those documents are able to be accessed in a timely manner. So making sure that, you know, we're up to date, that we're modernized enough so that when those documents are needed, they're up to date and we can get it to them as quickly as possible, because you never know, it could be an emergency situation, which happens a lot. And we want to ensure that the things that are needed are, you're able to get it in a timely manner. So, and then running day-to-day operations, I've done supervision. I'm supervising a team of individuals. And then in the county clerk's office, you also would be responsible for overseeing a lot of individuals who may work in unions and that kind of thing. And those are all things that I've done, and I think that I'm definitely qualified for and can make some improvements on.
One of the things that I know is infrastructure in probably all of our government offices is sadly lacking. But I also know, even though that taxes always going up, the money to develop that infrastructure is not always there. How would you handle that situation?
I mean, I think that although, again, the money is definitely not always there, but we can make do with what we have, right? That means going into negotiations with various different vendors, making sure, putting things out to bid, to make sure that, you know, we can modernize and build and develop the infrastructure the right way for the lowest amount of money as possible, because there are people out there who are very, if we can keep them competitive by letting them outbid themselves and then picking the best person based off of their portfolios and what they've done in the past. And I think that's the best way and the most cost effective way to handle those situations.
As the current incumbent has been in office for a number of years, what can you say about what she has done with the office in comparison to, you know, what you think you can do?
Okay, I mean, I can say that the current incumbent, she's been there for a very long time, and there has been things that have been done, but I think that at this point in time, we need someone that's going to come in and give a fresh outlook, someone that can come in and improve upon things that have already been, that may have been implemented, or that has fresh ideas that can implement newer ideas, because that's the whole thing. The county clerk's office is vastly outdated. It's not been modernized at all. And, you know, we need to keep up with the times. And we're in 2021, we should be able to have things that be more accessible. And when I mean more accessible, I mean to our county residents. We should, people should know what the county clerk's office is. They should know, when I knock on doors and I'm speaking to residents, they don't even know what a county clerk's office is and the resources that it has to offer. And I think that's one of my main goals, is to get the word out there and to spread that education to our county residents, and let them know and utilize the county clerk's office as a resource for people. People don't know that there's so many resources that the county clerk's office has and can offer people that would definitely benefit them. Our entrepreneurs in this generation, there's so many entrepreneurs. There's documents in the county clerk's office that they could utilize to even start their businesses while they try to obtain their LLC, something called a DBA. We can utilize, those are things that they need to know. And it's fairly cheap to start as a sole proprietor and get your DBA. You can get your name and, you know, start your business. Something like that should be taught, or, you know, educated, and people should know about. Those are the kind of things that, you know, I'm running on. I want to get the word out there. I want people to know exactly what the county clerk's office is, and I will make sure that people will know what the county clerk's office is, and that we have the resources to make sure that people can utilize it the proper way.
So now we're in a pandemic, and you are a brand new candidate, okay? And you're going to door, which I am amazed that you're doing. How do you find, do you find people like, you know, are you vaccinated or are you not? How is that whole campaigning going?
I mean, I think the campaigning is going great. We have a lot of supporters. A lot of people have been coming out and just been in support of my running. When I do talk about it and explain my background and that kind of things, people come to realize that, I am so qualified for this position. And, they've said that, I might be one of the most qualified people they've seen in a number of years for the position when they do know what the county clerk's office is. So when I do go door to door and knock on doors and speak to residents, I do bring a mask. I have it on my chin and I'll have it up when I go to the door just out of respect, because I don't know if, certain people are, either unvaccinated or vaccinated, or if, they would prefer the mask. So I do it out of respect. And, if they come to the door, and typically people that are worried about that, they'll just keep the door closed and then speak like that, or keep it cracked a little bit. Most people actually open the door and they're outside, they're talking to me regularly. And we have that interaction. And for me, that's a big thing because I'm more of a people person. I like people to get the feel of who I am and being able to just, have those discussions and listen to their concerns and, get to know their personality, and they can get to know my personality. I think that's the biggest way. And my motto is for this whole thing has been from the ground up. People talk about grassroots campaigns. I call it the ground up, where we're going to start from the bottom, which is knocking on doors. Sometimes a lot of people may not like it. Phone calls, phone banks, and that kind of thing.
Right.
Just to listen to people. And for me, I think it makes a big difference having that connection. And when people go to the voting polls, they'll remember the person that knocked on their door, who took the time to speak to them and took the time to listen to what their concerns was, not just, saying that, you're running for an elected seat and you want them to come out in November, but actually saying, hey, what are some of your concerns? And, if it's not something I can address, I can advocate on your behalf and get that to somebody that can address those concerns.
That's great. One of the things that I believe is pro right now is that you're the Democratic candidate. We have a Democratic president. We're getting things done. We also had a Democratic governor who unfortunately has stepped down, and now every single office, I think, is being scrutinized. How do you feel about that?
As far as, are we speaking about the governor?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay. I mean, I think that we all can, and this is for every single person, whether Democrat or Republican. I think that, we can we can learn from this as a lesson, take it as a lesson. We should keep, remain as professional as possible in the workplace, to even avoid any, decisions that may either potentially look like something or is something. So to avoid all of those, at all costs, we should always remain professional in the workplace. And, there's policies in place for these kind of things, and we should abide by them. That's why there's policies in place.
Great. Well, I want to thank you. It seems like a half hour just goes like this.
Yes.
But I am very pleased that you were able to come and speak with the constituents here and join me from the source with Elizabeth Johnson. And I hope, I wish you the best, and I hope that I can speak with you again sometime in the future.
It's my pleasure. Thank you again for having me on. This was great. And I look forward to, speaking to you in the future.